Imagine being trapped in a backseat of a car during a tense night drive. Your parents are arguing, you're too young to understand everything they're saying, but the tone, it's cold, distant, maybe even volatile, is impossible to ignore. Your only escape is a handheld game console growing faintly in the dim light. You retreat into the safety of pixels and beeps, but as the night drive continues, something changes. The game begins to reflect the tension around you. You feel watched. Something is in the car with you. This is DEADSEAT, a psychological horror game by Carius Fox Sox that blends emotional storytelling with minimalist survival mechanics to deliver one of the most personal and one of the most haunting indie horror experiences in my recent memory. DEADSEAT takes place entirely within the confined space of the car's back seat. You play as a child named Caleb during a long nighttime car ride, caught between two arguing parents who we actually never really see. The only real connection to the outside world is through the child's handheld game device, an interference that at first seems like a simple minigame, but quickly reveals itself to be something much deeper and more insidious. What begins as an innocent distraction soon turns into a nightmarish tool for survival. As the tension in the car ride escalates, a shadowy entity begins to materialize, creeping closer to the child. The line between the digital and the physical world begins to blur. The line between the digital and the physical world begins to blur, and the handheld console, once a place of refuge, becomes a means of interacting with and defending against the growing threat. But if you are no stranger to the channel, you know that before getting into the meat and potatoes, we first need to go over the game in its entirety. So without further ado, let me actually get this out of the way. If you like what you see here, why don't you do the Holy Trinity for me? Like, comment, subscribe. But as always, hold out on that last bit. If you're not already subscribed, don't subscribe until the end of the video, because I'm sure by the end of it, you're going to have loved your time here, and I'm going to have earned your subscription. So without further ado, let's get into the game.
The current route is no longer available. Alternate route found. Turn left. In 5 miles, turn right.
Strange. The construction wasn't here this morning. I don't recognize this route at all. Do you, hon? Harold? Don't ignore me, Harold. Mommy? I'm hungry. Caleb, don't interrupt. But I'm starving. You're fine. I'm sorry, sweetie. I need to talk to your daddy right now. We'll be home soon. Why don't you play with your game or something? Off the jump, we can see something has happened before the game's event. The mother alludes to them being lost for whatever reason and her having doubts about the route ahead. And the dad, he's just ignoring her, not responding to any of her pleads, refusing to speak. All the while we are in the back wanting food because we're just a kid, unable to grasp on the seriousness of the situation. The mom tells us that they'll stop soon enough, but for now we should just busy ourselves with our DS. And can we talk about that? Bro, this game really did bring me back to like my early years of, being alive, like understanding what existence was. I think the DS was like early on in my gaming journey. I had always played games. My cousin, actually, the first console that I ever played was from my cousin. He had a Nintendo 64, and I think he had Puzzle League, which was like a Pokemon game where it's Tetra, and you basically try to outdo the other person. It's really, really cool. You had Super Smash Bros, obviously. And so and amongst other things. And so we would oftentimes just play that, right? And then simultaneously, my grandparents on my mom's side actually had a PS1. I don't know what I would play on the PS1, I'm gonna be honest. But I do have a keen memory of them having this steering wheel as a remote, and we would, and like they had a gas pedal as well, and you would just hook it up and you would play like a driving game like that. So cool. And then also simultaneously, I think my first handheld was this like rectangular device. It is so, I don't even know what the hell it's called. And then it was the Game Boy, and then at some point it was the DS, and then the DSi, and then the 3D DS. I'm telling you, I'm a nerd. I had always played games. And then we had like the Wii, and then the Wii U, the PlayStation 2. Oh my gosh, yeah, the PlayStation 2 was like kind of the goated year, because on the PlayStation 2 I used to play a lot of games there too. It was like Ninja Turtles. We had this King Kong game, which used to spook the hell out of me, because you would have to shoot these giant spiders. It was frightening. I remember it being like really spooky for me. We just had a lot of games. I cannot tell you. Metal Arms, oh my gosh, that's a blast from the past. Fucking love Metal Arms. And then we got a PlayStation 3, and then PlayStation 4, and dude, so this brought me back, because when I was playing the DS, I do remember playing mostly Pokemon games. And I do believe on the DS itself, you didn't need to have like a cartridge or anything like that to play certain games. You could just download them onto your DS at your like home screen. And it was the Power Ranger thing that I was talking about earlier. It was amongst other things as well, but that was the main thing. It was like a wave of fights that people would do. It was cool. And it brought me back to that, where the dude was just playing the DSi, and I was like, oh, I remember those days. It was so cool. Oh my gosh. Another big game I would play was Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story or something like that. Oh my god, that game was goated, but it was so hard at a certain point. I never beat that game. Maybe, honestly guys, this is like going out of left field, but I'm starting the second channel soon, and I'm actually 2 videos deep into making the new channel. And a pipe dream of mine is I want to create a series where I go back and I beat games that I've never beat, or like revisit games that I just never beat as a child. And right now the list just keeps growing on. We have Mario and Luigi's Inside Story. I never finished that one. What's it called? Lost? Is that what it's called? I think it's called Lost, like Below Freezing. I haven't finished that game either. I haven't finished Metal Arms. There's a lot of games, and so I kind of wanted to create like a series where I would go back and revisit games like those. So I digress. I just had to yap about the DS. I never beat Pokemon either, so who knows, maybe I'll play Pokemon. Caleb would open the game, and it begins with a narration. It tells us that we have 5 levels, and each day is a level. So we have a 5-day trip to our destination that we deem, any destination we deem. And when we close our eyes and imagine a place we want to go, we go to the happy cave. That's where we want to be. It is a long journey we have ahead of ourselves, so we need to stop for supplies. Before each level, we would have to go to a pit stop and gather supplies for the upcoming days on end. Pulling over to the side, we are instructed to find a camera by the narrator. The forest can be dense and we can get hungry and starve. So while looking around, we need to make sure that we are fed and make it back to the car safe and sound once finding the camera. Now on the road, this is where the game gets a little difficult. Here we find out that the game reflects reality. On our DS, we are to stir to fill more gas, but the camera that we got is needed in the real world to get rid of the demons trying to get us from in the game. But the camera we got will be needed in the real world to get rid of the demons as we try to play our game. And so we are constantly switching from the DS and steering the wheel to make sure we get as much gas as possible, and also having to check our sides in the real world for potential threats. And once successfully surviving,
In 4 miles, turn right.
Caleb, bud, would you mind turning your game down, please? Oh, I get it. So you'll talk to Caleb. You had no right to invite Maria to live with us. You didn't even ask for my opinion. Not like you'd care what it was anyways. Oh, silly me, why would I invite a sick woman into our home? I should have just been cold and caring like you. My mother has the right to be taken care of. And I agree, there are some very, very nice retirement homes just for that. You are not bringing this up again. I thought you were the one who brought it. Excuse me? You are so selfish, so stubborn. I love your mother, but a home is where she belongs. She never approved of me anyways. She just wants me gone. The dementia will eat her alive at home. She won't know where she is or why she's alone. She'd be petrified. Harold, sometimes I wonder if you even care about her at all. Or me. We can visit, but we do not need her living with us. She could hurt someone or herself. What if she hurts Caleb? My mother would never. You don't know what she is always. She is a control. You just don't want someone. Maybe not. You're an expert. They're fighting again. Always fighting. It's in their nature. They don't belong together. Like oil and water. Look at the boy. He wants to get away. He thinks the cave is real. Maybe it is. Who are we to judge? The boy just wants them to stop fighting. But good boys don't run away. Wow, that was intense. On level 2, we make our pit stop and look around for supplies for the upcoming journey. Interestingly enough, the stuff that we end up collecting in the game makes its way into the physical world, collecting bear traps and barricades. That's when level 2 begins. And it's the same gameplay, but now the demons are a lot more, aggressive. They're moving different. But getting through the night drive, we will get to our next cutscene.
In 3 miles, turn right.
This stupid GPS. It doesn't look right at all. Showing a straight road as we drive on a curvy path. Where even are we? Harold, maybe we should just turn back. I have this horrible feeling. I don't know how to describe it. Like this unshakable sense of impending doom. I want to get off this road now. Why? So we can drive back to your mother's place? No, I'll just take it slow. We'll be fine. Mom, I'm really hungry. We'll get food soon, okay? I feel sick. On to level 3. We make another pit stop and go to collect items. However, this time around, the demon made its way into our game. And now we're getting a clear picture of the demons. And the demons look as if they are conjoined by the body with 2 different heads. I'm pretty sure this represents the parents in their relationship. Always at each other's necks, but unable to separate due to external factors. But then level 3 begins and things get even more intense. Our parents have straight up disappeared, and now we are to manually steer the wheel of the car in order to not run into the demon. The same rules apply just like the other levels, except this time you need to use the items you've collected. The bear trap to slow down the demon, the barricades to, slow down the demons, and the soda to speed out of danger. All the while still having to dodge obstacles in the game, but if you manage to persevere,
Where will you go, Caleb? Your game is nothing but a game. You can't ignore your problems. This is the family you get. In 2 miles, turn right.
Isn't this peace and quiet so lovely? You are so close to the happy cave. You only need to survive your demon. I am not like the others, child. I am very real. Things are already pretty intense, but even still, the game must go on. We make another pit stop again and go to collect more supplies with the demons on our tail. But there is one important detail before moving on to the next level. While collecting supplies, you actually find 2 people. One lady that is pink and one dude who is blue. And when going up to them, they seem to be dead, and essentially the game character says she was the passenger, he was the driver. And that's all you get. But from the coloration that they have, it's important to distinguish that the mother spoke in pink, the dad spoke in blue. So this could be the mom and dad, and maybe signifying their impending doom that the mother was so afraid of. But once finishing up, we go into level 4, which is much of the same, but just more of everything. More obstacles, more demons, more directions, more spooks, and of course, a higher blood pressure for your boy. But once finishing the level,
In 1 mile, turn right.
the upcoming turn is wrong. You must go left instead. And then you will no longer be in the Dead Sea. We again go on one last pit stop, but our DS narrator told us that the GPS has gotten it wrong. It's going to tell us to turn right, but instead we need to turn left. And once getting out of the car and getting the supplies, the chicken wings, or at least what used to be chicken, turned into dead bodies. One blue guy, one pink girl. The same colors the text Caleb's parents had. And to boot, we are always saying and talking about how hungry we were. I had thought that meant just starved for attention or for love. But now I think we actually ate our parents. And when getting back into the car, the demons pay us a visit. The boy is still afraid. Can you blame him? Look at us. This poison's form. We look as we should. The boy must stay. The boy must stay. The boy must stay. And we go on one last drive. This one's as intense as it gets. Gotta dodge all types of obstacles. There's deer, bunnies, rocks in the way, all the while dodging the demon, trying to stir it for yourselves. And obviously the demon's trying to get inside. You have to flash them and barricade the windows, put the bear traps on the trunk or in the front seat. It's carnage. It's literally carnage and chaos. But once surviving, our DS tells us that they will be our new guardians, saying how they will feed us, protect us, and show us the beauty in the thorns. Then it tells us to turn left.
Turn right.
Caleb, what are you doing? Son, stay in the back. Let go of the wheel. As we sit in the back of the car with broken legs, we call out to our mother and father and state that we're starving. Then the game asks, who is going to be first? Days pass by. Nearly a week passes by as you sit there in the back seat and you eat both your father and your mother. As we sit there, the DS comes on again and tells us not to cry and that we're almost there. Caleb himself even says that he's quote unquote ready. And the final scene plays out. Then that's the end. So full transparency here. This video is a mess. Like I'm sure it's gonna come out super great. It's gonna come out like amazing or whatever. But that part that you just watched was probably like maybe a damn near a week ago that I recorded it. Tell me why I edit the whole video all the way down to the conclusion, and then I wrap around and I see that it says hard mode, and I'm like, oh, hard mode's just for whatever. And then I see some extra lore. I see endings. I'm like, there was only one ending. What are you talking about? Nope, there was 2 endings. There's one in hard mode, so that's always the best. But it's okay. It's alright. We're gonna get into it. And we also learn what this voice is, the entity in the DS. We get to see what he's about as well. So without further ado, let us get into the hard mode. Thus far, we only had talked about the game on a superficial level. The game design, the story, the themes, the narrative, the vulnerability of the situation, and how it relates to real life problems. But hard mode acts as almost a sequel to the events of the playthrough. The gameplay is still very much the same, except for each level you get a bit of lore right after it. As soon as you start it up, actually, we get an opening cutscene of a book. Listen, all children, and beware the luring voice of the wild. He sinks into your imagination of every runaway child. Surrounded by all great nature, he grows the family he desires. When a child eats of his supper, they'll become a voice in his choir. What are you doing here? Why are you back? You killed us. We hate you. You don't get to go back now. The car's gone. Even now, the boys still fears us. But why? Their fighting has ended. We should be gone now. Save your breath. It'll go to waste. He's in denial. He expects to be haunted. A lesson must be learned. A lesson must be taught. Then level 1 begins. Honestly, it'd be pretty redundant if I were to just go through the game just as I did for the first 20 minutes of this video. So I'm just going to go to each level's opening scene, because each level, after you complete it, has this like book section following with some lore. And I'll read those cutscenes, and then we'll just rinse and repeat until we're finished with all the much needed lore that we're needing to get. So after beating the first level, this happens. He seeks those who are broken, those who feel alone, and tells that if they obey, they will get a brand new home. The luring voice that lures children away. He guides them to an unknown place with friends to make their stay. Psst, hey! Hi, I'm Amy. Who are you? My name is Caleb. Hi, Caleb. When did you find the cave? There's no cave. I'm just waiting for my mom and dad to come back. You still have a mom and dad? That's weird. Me and all the other kids ran away. Why? I don't know, because our mom and dads are scary. My dad kissed another girl he wasn't supposed to. And my mom and dad got in a lot of bad words, and they started throwing stuff and fighting. Then the voice told me to come here for a nicer family. That means you and I are family. I'm sorry your mom and dad were so mean. It's okay. I like it here more anyway. A girl named Amy is another victim to the voice, it seems. As the book stated, it goes after children who are heavily mentally scarred or runaway children. She mentions how her mom found out that her husband was sleeping around and they started fighting. And that's also when the voice became clear to her. On to level 2, and as I said, when defeating level 2, we actually get more lore. He exists between two worlds, the connection accidental, half in the physical world, half in the mental. Deeper the children follow, for he promises he can save. Then they'll end up lost inside the happy cave. Why do you keep looking around like that? 'Cause there's a monster. I'm scaring it away. I didn't see any monster. It was through the windows. But the cave doesn't have any windows. You're weird. But you have a cool shirt though. So I'll still be your friend. We go back to the car, and Amy wraps around the chair and asks Caleb if everything's alright because he keeps looking around frantically. Obviously, he's looking around trying to scare the demons away, but we find a weird detail. To Amy, she's in the happy cave, but to Caleb, he's still in the DEADSEAT, which makes you question just how much of this is real. If the monster exists between the physical and the dream world, are we still in the dead seat of the car with our legs broken and our parents eaten, or have we actually physically gotten out into the happy cave? Is the happy cave just a state of denial? I don't know. But again, once defeating level 3, much of the same happens, and when completing it, we get some more lore. The luring voice protects and takes neglected children in. Into their vulnerable minds he goes, filling their heads with sin. He is not nice. Study his eyes and see through his disguise. If it's him, the eyes are red, even if his figure lies. Are you okay? Caleb, calm down, it's okay. In a panic, we shout, but Amy tries to calm us and we wake up in a happy cave. Amy says how the man told her if she eats the supper, then she'll become like nature and all the bad thoughts will go away. Caleb is having none of it and tells her that he needs to go home right now. That's when the man himself tells Caleb not to shout, as they would be no different from his old family if he were to do so, saying how his family is much better here in the happy cave. But again, Caleb knows the truth and he refuses to stay in the happy cave. And on to level 4 we go. We do the same as usual, but towards the end, something weird happens. Our demon, our parent, comes out and tells Caleb that they had told us just to stay in the seat. This was genius. In the first half of the game, the demons had said the boy must stay, which always confused me. Stay where? Stay in the dead seat? Then they said that once more when Caleb grappled with the steering wheel to even now. To Caleb, his parents were nothing more than just faceless demons at a certain point. But now in this poisonous forms, their words remain the same, but now with the truth unveiled, it's completely different, taken completely different. Then level 5 begins. However, before it could start, we get this cutscene. I feel different. I'm becoming nature, just like he said. Look at me, Caleb. I'm all new. Amy? Amy, please talk. Don't leave me alone.
Caleb. Supper is ready.
No, I don't want any.
I know you ate a big meal before arriving, but you must eat. Join your new family.
No, 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 no. Did you have fun at Grandma's, Caleb? Yeah, I like Grandma. She's fun. Daddy, are we almost home?
No, not yet. We still have a few hours.
Maybe you should sleep for a bit. Okay, well, I love you, Mom and Dad.
I love you too, bud.
I love you, Caleb. Then boom, we are awakened from our dream and reminded of our bleak reality. The voice has now taken off the doors, and in the final level begins. And beating it, we get the final and most important lore that we're gonna need in the game. To free yourself, convince him, get the great guiding stone. Within your hands, he'll finally let you home. The stone takes many forms. It is always something new. Ask yourself and search your heart. What does escape look like to you? The stone.
Child, how did you get that? Give it to me. Child, what have you done to me? Why can't I see it?
We have to find a stone that means escape to us. And of course, that being the DS. The very thing that allowed for us to escape in the first place. We trap him in the game, and for the first time, he is unable to read our minds, and we finally walk out of the happy cave, destroying our only means of escaping and facing reality full on, finally coming full circle and ending the game. Now, for this next section here, or basically for the remainder of the video, it's pretty much going to be like this. We're going to have one lore related, and then we're going to have another section being what I found interesting about the game's mechanics, the story beats, what have you, right? So I'm going to start with the lore, because lore is always fun. You know, if there ain't no lore, there ain't no me. Personally, I have nothing written down here, so this is definitely going to be a yap session. But personally, I think the game is a huge, big metaphor. But I think similar to other games like Franbo and Sally Face, these things do happen within the game. I truly do think there is a luring voice that leads children into the forest who have run away and whatnot. But I do think that since that whole supernatural thing is a real thing, does not mean it's not a metaphor for something. I do believe that this game at the end of the day is about escapism. It is telling a very vulnerable story that I'm sure that 100,000+ people watching this video probably felt, seeing your parents argue, seeing your parents fall apart. Personally, for me, I've always been a hopeless romantic because I was in a good state of my, I was in a good like living situation, right? My parents were together and their sisters and brothers had partners that were together. They wouldn't sleep around. They were faithful. Even their damn parents had been around for 50 years, married to the same person. And so for me to wake up and see and grow up and see all this stuff, I became a hopeless romantic. That became my life goal. Find my peace, find my person, find someone I am willing to sacrifice, be loyal for, and grow and change and nurture a future generation just the same way. But that was a naive take on life, because slowly but surely you become more aware of the problems behind the scenes. My mom and dad aren't perfect, and nor is their marriage. Some things happen. Things have to adapt. Things have to change. Health issues rises. Motivation declines. Stagnation takes root. It does all these things that happen. And the older you get, the more aware of it you become. When you were younger, they would try to hide it, or you would only see it in spouts. But when you're older, damn, they don't even try to hide it. At least for me, I'm speaking from from experience. And I do believe that I used games as a form of escape. If my parents were having a bad thing and I didn't want to hear their arguing downstairs, I would go upstairs and play GTA 5. I would go upstairs and play Destiny. I had strikes to run, okay? I had raids to attend to, okay? It wasn't as bad to the point where I needed to take the wheel figuratively and literally and throw us off the edge of the road, but I do feel where Caleb is coming from. And I think that while this game does have lore indicating that this luring voice only takes runaway children, there is a part that I think the reason why he was able to break the cycle was because he still had love for his parents. If you noticed, Amy did not. Amy was a actual runaway child. And in the books, it did state that he only goes after runaway children, which had me thinking, why did he choose Caleb? Caleb didn't run away. Caleb genuinely was still in the car and chose to do this out of the luring voice's actions. So I think that is probably why it didn't work out for the voice, because Caleb never ran away. Caleb never fit that bill. Caleb instead was more trying to escape his demons, which was his parents, but he never ran away, because even in their poisonous forms, all their words were truly trying to get through Caleb. If you really go back and you read every line, it may seem scary at first because, you know, two fucking giant shadowy figures are like, the boy must stay. But when you think about it, they were just saying, stay in your seat. It was foreshadowing the entire time. Stay in your seat. Stay in your seat. The boy is afraid. He doesn't want to talk to us. But in his eyes, that's exactly what his parents looked like. Demons. And so every word was misconstrued with negativity on max. But it was very heartwarming that at the very end, he was able to only beat the voice because of his mom's words. There's more to life. You know, don't throw it away. There's more to life. And it was amazing that they still used a shadowy figure, but they made it so humane, so uplifting. It's such a bleak game because it's very easy for you to forget that Caleb ate his parents, dude. Caleb ate his whole ass mom and dad, bro. I don't like it. Is such a happy ending, or at least a bittersweet ending, but the pessimistic in me, bro, you're out there in the woods, you ate your parents, you're gonna starve to death and die. Hell, you might even go to jail. I don't know how old you are. You might go to juvie. Oh no, you not even juvie. You might not be all the way up there, bro. I know what it do. I know what eating humans do to people. I don't personally know, but I know that it messes with your like brain toxicities or whatever, and you start going a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And he's definitely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, who would smash their DS like that? While this game does have heavy lore about the luring voice, and in that final act where it was like human looking hands instead of the demons this whole time, and how he was taking forms of deer and whatnot, I think that was cool. I think those are definitely lore points, like somewhere like, and if you read the books, like the little each passages, and take note of what they were saying in each of the passages, it's very interesting, because it almost seems as if the voice itself is almost an accident, almost a victim of its own creation, because it said that, like this, I'm paraphrasing, but it said something about it existing somewhere between the physical and the dream realm accidentally. And so I was like, accidentally, eh? So I don't particularly think that the voice is evil. I think the voice just is misconstrued and mystery, right? Because he's not outright killing these things for funsies. Hell, he almost looked like he could either be a conniving bastard going after children he knows wants a new family, or he could truly believe that death, or he could truly have like a different view on death and believe that, hey, if you want the bad thoughts to stop, kill yourself, because then you will be lifted from any physical remnants from the earth. And I think that's kind of what happened. Because yeah, he wasn't overtly evil. He may have killed Amy for sure, but he was only rewarding her what she wanted, which was peace and quiet, and no physical attachments to. She wanted to become nature, which she did. She died. And then he also wants to take in these children and make them have better families, not to shout, not to fight. It's better here, right? It's almost like maybe he himself, before he became this alluring entity, was going through something similar, and he wants to save these children from similar fates. I have no idea. Oh, I lagged. I have no idea. Oh, I lagged again. Are we gonna keep lagging, or are we gonna get through this? But yes, I think that this entire game is a very big metaphor, and if we're gonna go the lore route, I don't think that the luring voice was overtly evil. I think he was just a victim that got the wrong idea and went down the wrong path, and did evil deeds like eating someone's parents or manipulating a child to eat their own parents and killing another child to put her back into nature. But I do think that it is an interesting idea to say that he was also a victim, and in a way he was also trying to escape reality, whatever reality he was trying to escape, just like Caleb. However, Caleb chose to look at it and broke the one stone that allowed him to do so, which was his DS. It's a beautiful story. But now, with the lore out of the way and all that other junk and gobbledygook, as Berlizzi would say, let's get into why I love this game. But the first part we're going to get into, or the first section, is going to be thematic exploration. At the heart of DEADSEAT lies a story about escapism, trauma, and the inner world of children caught in an emotionally volatile environment. One of the most powerful aspects of the game is how it visualizes trauma through interactivity. The handheld console is more than just a game. It's a defense mechanism. For many children growing up in unstable homes, games and toys can serve as both a shield and a voice. DEADSEAT leans into the concept, using the consoles as a literal and metaphorical tool for survival. While the parents argue and the air in the car grows increasingly more oppressive, the player is forced to retreat into the console. But the deeper they go, the more dangerous it becomes. The monster that creeps ever closer to the back seat isn't just a creature, it's an embodiment of anxiety, fear, and helplessness. The game asks important questions. How do children interpret trauma when they don't have the language to articulate it? In DEADSEAT, Caleb doesn't speak much. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the only thing that we hear from Caleb is mom and dad, and that I'm starving. Nothing else is ever really shared about our main boy, and I guess I'm ready, but that's beside the point. The game is presented through visuals, sounds, and tension, communicating volumes through, well, mostly silence. But as the silence breaks and the arguments explode, it's hard for you to even keep up or keep track of the entire picture. There is no explanation dump. There is no direct explanation of the parents' fight, but the emotional weight is undeniable. What truly makes DEADSEAT very unique is how it doesn't treat horror as a spectacle, instead an intimate and personal experience. The horror isn't just in the monsters creeping into your car. It's about being stuck somewhere you don't want to be, unable to move or to speak, unsure whether anyone is going to even protect you, if you're even being heard at all. The handheld game becomes a metaphor for escapism, as I said earlier, a tool that the child uses to dissociate from the distressing environment. This mirrors real-life scenarios where children retreat into fantasy worlds to shield themselves from familial conflicts. As the end-game events start influencing the real world, it underscores how suppressed emotions or unresolved issues can manifest in unexpected ways. The next section that I'd like to try to dive into is the development insights. DEADSEAT was developed entirely by one person, Curious Fox Sox, an indie developer known for emotionally resonant experimental games. Created using the Godot engine, the game stands as a testament to what can be achieved through focused vision and intimate design. From the start, Fox Sox emphasized atmosphere over visuals. There's a grainy VHS-like filter on the handheld console, and the car's interior is very minimally lit, invoking a feeling of dread without showing much of anything. This low-res aesthetic plays a key role in the game's success. The limitations become strengths as the player's imagination fills in the gaps. Curious Fox cited personal experiences and a desire to explore non-traditional horror storytelling as a major inspiration behind the project. Many players reported feeling an emotional connection to the protagonist, Caleb, and that response helped steer the game in a more narratively heavy direction. What started as a short horror concept evolved into a layered explanation of childhood anxiety and survival. The expanded Steam version added new mechanics, more dialogue-free storytelling, and a more punishing difficulty mode that enhances the player's sense of vulnerability. This process, taking a small idea and letting it grow into an organically based on community feedback, shows just how responsive the indie development can be when it's, stayed true to its emotional core. Now for section 4, gameplay mechanics. What makes DEADSEAT so intense is how it forces you to multitask. I know, a lot of people can't do that. Yeah, ADHD, yeah. You're not just playing a handheld game, you're using it as just another tool, another key or item that you can just helps you fend for yourself physically and defend yourself in the real world. You're constantly looking down at the console, then back up at the car windows, then back down again, creating this loop of anxiety that mirrors real life panic. Is it safe to keep playing? Is the monsters getting close? Will you have time to react if it reaches you? What's that knocking at your window? The handheld game's interface is deceptively simple, mimicking a Game Boy era type design, obviously being a DS, but the stakes are too real. Every item you collect could mean the difference between life or death. Do you risk looking at your DS for one more drop of gas, or do you want to check the car windows one more time? This balancing act becomes more brutal in hard mode, where timing is stricter and the consequences of failure is much harsher. There's a real sense of helplessness here, and that's intentional. The child character can't get out of the car. They can't confront their parents. They can only survive with what they have. And that makes every second feel so claustrophobic. This is where DEADSEAT excels. It turns limited interactions into an overwhelming experience. You're not just trying to win, you're trying to survive. You're trying to endure this night drive. You have literally become Caleb in the DEADSEAT. Dude, I have been sitting in this closet trying to figure out why the hell my lighting situation is so god awful. It's either bright. Oh, hey. Is that a good lighting right there, y'all? Or you want to be spooky? Have you ever thought that you would not get out of the DEADSEAT? Have you ever thought? Yeah, we're done. Anyway, I'm super off script. Holy moly. So this next section, and I love Past Yuri for this. It's called Part 5, Game. You want to know what the description says? Yap. Yap about what, Yuri? Come on, bro. Just because you're tired doesn't mean you can only just give cryptic messages. Dude, I wrote this script 4 days ago. What the fuck do you want me to yap about? Caleb is a very soft-spoken boy, and I really enjoyed how the writing started off with this impending doom. The entire time Caleb is in the back seat talking about hey, I'm starving. So that's already kind of leading into the fact of, at the very end of the game, Caleb's going to be the reason why they crash the car, essentially, and he's going to eat his parents because he's starving. He was already hungry to start with, so of course that was where it was going. I also enjoyed the little mini games where you would have to run around and eat the chicken wings, but at the same time that was also foreshadowing for the end of the game, because those chicken wings was what he wanted, but he ended up eating his parents because, well, he was starving, and he also was the reason why they crashed. But the game itself is really cool. I love all the minor details that they found, or that they show. They never show the mom and dad's face. We have only seen their color of the text that they speak, and that's the only reason why I knew it was the mom and dad before it was the mom and dad reveal. I also very much enjoyed the demon, because even at the very end of the game, you're still not really 100% sure what exactly is the demon. Is the demon real, or is that just in our head because we're literally having psychosis. We're literally going through a mental break of stress and oppression, right? And so by the very end of the game, you kind of have to wonder, when you go to that happy cave, was the narrator a supernatural being, or was that all still in our head? Because when we walked through that forest, it went from being an actual forest to then slowly becoming the game. It was a maladaptive way of trying to make the brain understand what the fuck is happening. And at this point, Caleb has been far overdue with stress and is definitely going through psychosis of some kind, as he just kind of try to dissociate himself with reality and kind of go for what he deems as a safe space, which was his game, walking right up to the cave, and that being the narrator saying welcome home. I think this game tackled a child going through psychosis super well. It started off just like any other thing. He's in the back seat. He feels claustrophobic. It's a very dark environment, and all you can see is your parents bickering. Two people you love dearly, talking about things that you may not understand, but the tone you understand fully. They are at each other's necks, and they just tell you, and this is also very much a new generation thing, but to just go busy yourself with video games. It's an early sign of bad habits, right? Ignore your problems, do something you enjoy. I think the game did psychosis perfectly, because I feel like this was an ongoing thing. This was a very not first time argument. And I think escaping to a reality and not furthering understanding what's happening only allowed him to feel, or Caleb to feel, more, lonely, isolated, alienated out of the whole situation. And every time he would go and ask his mother for food, she would just be like, play your DS, bro. Calm down, bro. Shut up, bro. I gotta talk to your dad. But at the same time, the dad and mom are mentioning his name in their argument. What the hell do you think the kid's gonna think? I personally believe the kid thinks it's his fault. And so he's starved for attention. And so that's why he wants to go to this happy cave. He never explicitly says that he hates his mom and dad. He simply just wants the fighting to stop. He doesn't want a new mom and dad. He just wants them to chill the fuck out. And I think that is probably one of the more distressing things about this game, is that a lot of times when children see their parents fighting, you would expect them to dislike them or try to choose a side, but that's literally impossible. More times than not, they don't want to choose sides. They don't want to choose who they like more, who they want to choose sides. They want the fighting to stop. They just want normal. They want normalcy. And so I really enjoyed how they did that. And oh my gosh, that ending was perfect. The entire time, the GPS is telling them where to go, right? The GPS is like, keep going right, or keep going straight, and then you're going to turn right. And the mom and dad are like, yo, this is a very curvy road. What is this construction? Are we lost? The mom's like, dude, I feel like this is not a safe road. We should just go back. And the dad's like, no, we'll just take it slow. And literally when we are about to turn right, we're pretty much almost at our destination. We turn left. And so that just means that Caleb back there for the last 5 miles had been thinking about taking that wheel. The game had slowly started implanting that idea to that when it told us to do it, we did it before to dodge the demons. Of course we're going to do it again. And it was so cool. It was so cool. There's just so many hidden details. So when we turn left and you notice we don't dodge the demon. We actually hit the demon. But like I said, the demon is our mom and dad's oppressive nature. And so they are literally struggling with the wheel as we jumped from the back seat and trying to turn left. And they are trying to resist it. They're trying to stop it, right? And the demon outside is too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the correlation keeps going. And then obviously it looks like they go off a cliff, because they I thought they drove into a fucking tree or something, but it seems like they were vertical for a second there, and they landed right on the mom and dad demon guy thing. And that's when he ate him. And after that point, I feel like, yeah, he totally started dissociating. His legs were broken. He was telling his mom and dad to just please wake up because he is starving. He's still just so dependent on an idea that used to be that that's the only thing that really matters to him at this point. It's just food. That was the last thing they were speaking of. So that's the only thing that his shocked brain will allow him to think. I need food, just like in the game. I need food. And so he would eat his mom and dad whole, and he would get out, and the world became the game. He escaped. He finally did escape the dead seat, but at what cost? It's a really good ride. I think probably one of my favorite horror games to come out in a long time. DEADSEAT is more than just a horror game. It's an emotional portrait of a moment in childhood, a snapshot of helplessness, fear, and quiet resilience. It doesn't try to scare you with gore or a chase sequence. It scares you with putting you in the shoes of someone small, someone powerless, someone whose only choice is to survive. And in doing so, it tells a story that sticks with you long after the drive ends. If you are a fan of horror games that dare to be more vulnerable, games that prioritize emotion over spectacle, then Deadbeat is absolutely worth experiencing. And it's not just a game, it is a memory, wrapped in fear, wrapped in silence. Again, thank you guys for watching. I hope at this point I somehow earned your subscription. If you haven't hit the subscribe button or done the Holy Trinity, this is your one last warning before I come to your house and I'm going to be sleeping under your bed, and I will hack your phone, and I will subscribe, like, and comment on my own video. But if you don't want to do that, just do the Holy Trinity for me. All right, I'll see y'all on the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Love seeing you.